Hello! Episode 4. Boom! So today I'm going to talk about my travels in Myanmar, or Burma. Now, it used to be called Burma. I think the name has changed in the last 10-20 years to Myanmar to be more inclusive of all of the tribes, because they have over like 150 different tribal groups. I'm not going to get into the politics of Myanmar because that's not, I don't know enough about it. All I know is I had the most amazing time when I was there. It was absolutely gorgeous. It was the people, actually, that's what made it. It was the people, the culture, the history. It was so fascinating, so fascinating. So, I'll start from the top. My name is Grace. This is a podcast about my travelling and also with some knitting thrown in because I am a knitter. So it's a knitting and travelling podcast. Whichever bits you want to tune into, awesome. Some of my friends have been saying, yeah, I don't know anything about the knitting, but your travel stories are great. That's you, Emma. So that's been really sweet. So you can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as Vanna Willamille. And I've been contemplating for a while about setting up a Ravelry group, but I don't have access to a computer and I'm finding it really difficult to access Ravelry. All I do on Ravelry is go up and look at patterns. So should I set up a Ravelry group? That is difficult to say. Nah. Like, I could definitely. If people are interested, like, we could do lots of things, really. I mean, everybody seems to have one. So I need to work that out. I might need to use my brother's computer for that. But I don't want to set up something that I can't take part in or that I find frustrating to work on. I think Dan from the Bakery Bears once said that it's easier on the iPad and the iPhone, or on your phone. I don't know if you had an iPhone or what. If you downloaded Chrome, it might be easier. So I'll see, because I do want to, if I set it up, I want to be able to take part. That's only fair. And I'm going to be traveling quite a lot, so I won't have access to my brother's computer, but I will have my computer in about 3 weeks' time. 3 weeks! My boyfriend is coming and he's bringing all the things. He's bringing like a big shipment of West Yorkshire spinners. And himself, I'm really glad. That's going to be good. So that's exciting. I can't wait. So what do you think? Ravelry, yes. Ravelry group, yes. Ravelry group, no. I think I'd be able to interact a little bit more with people. I've just been like interacting with people on the comments and on Instagram and stuff, which is nice, but it would be nice to have like a group where we could talk about the travels, talk about different places, and maybe I could like write little articles about where I've been and the books and the shops and things that I've bought my yarn in when I was traveling, because it took a bit of finding. So I think that'd be good to have like a central place to have those details. Which would be awesome, I think. So I might do that. I think I do need to do it. No, it's not a might, really. I will do it. So I'm working full time now in Perth, which is, I finished my first full-time week, which was a bit, it was fine. It was totally fine. But I do miss my 2 days off. I couldn't do all the things I wanted to do. It's fine. So anyway, where was I? So I was in Ho Chi Minh the last time we were talking. And I was leaving, and on the way on the bus to the airport, I met this beautiful French girl, so sweet. She just gave me a bracelet. She's like, I've just met you, I would love to see you again, here's a bracelet. I was like, oh, so lovely. I had to take it off because I had to go to work, and I had like loads of like bangles and things all around my wrists, and I couldn't go to work with them on because it's like a sterile environment, because I work in a clinical setting. So I got to the airport anyway, and if anyone has ever experienced Asian queuing, this might be something you might recognise. I lived in England for a long time, and queuing is almost as important as tea. Okay, it's basically politeness. It's the core of the British soul, is learning how to queue properly, which is you stand in a line and you wait for the next person to take their turn. It's fairly simple. You'll get there eventually. We all will. Now, Asian queuing, every woman or man for themselves. It's just like basically just cut in, cut in, cut in. Oh, I can't see anybody else. I'm just going to walk straight to the front of this airline airline check-in desk. It was intense. And then they'd be like, oh, excuse me. And you'd think they want to like cut through the queue. No, they just cut in straight in front of you. They're like, thanks. I'm like, that's not what I meant. I meant for you to go straight across. This is my queue. Back up. And there was no one like policing it. And it was just like, anyway, I met these teachers, these English, I think they were English, and they'd been teaching in Myanmar for about 3 or 4 years, and they were giving me the heads up. And they were like, oh, it's so dirty. It's just so dirty. Nothing works. Everything's all over the place. And I'm like, but you've lived there for a while. And she's like, yeah, yeah. And I didn't get a great, like, first impression. I was like, oh, God, it's going to be awful. It's going to be terrible. What am I doing? But, I've taken to... Everybody has their own opinions of a place. And I've taken to trying to be a blank slate until I've experienced it. So I would advise anybody to do that whenever they're going to a place. Like, get advice from people, if you want to, but don't take it, like, do have an open mind and go in and say that was their experience, I'll have a different experience. So it, and it totally worked that way for me. Yes, the place was very dirty. Yes, because plastic had just been introduced 10, 20 years ago. And before 10, 20 years ago, they used banana leaves. They used not so plastic things. So when you threw the stuff on the ground, it degraded away. It's so simple. It's so simple. When you think about it, it's like, of course it's dirty. Of course they just throw their rubbish away. Because 10, 20 years ago, they could just throw the banana leaf away, or they could just throw like the wooden box away and it would degrade. It would just nature. It was natural. They didn't have the Western, like obviously in the cities they did, but in the countryside they just didn't have the crisp packets and bars and chocolates and stuff. And the first thing that happened when we arrived in the airport was you got this little booklet that said, I think I spoke about this in my last, but it said, please don't give sweets or things to the children, because that wasn't, they don't want the children to become dependent on tourists, but also, obviously, people had been giving sweets and it was something that they weren't used to, like things wrapped in sweets, things wrapped in plastic and stuff. So it was just such a bit of a mind-blowing thing. They also chew the betel leaf, which is a bit of the betel nut, and then they get a leaf, the betel leaf, which is the betel tree, and they put a bit of lime on it, like this white lime, like limestone essentially, and they put the betel nut on it, and they like sprinkle it in a bit of tobacco powder, wrap it up, and you just eat it, and then you spit it out afterwards, and it leaves this red stain on the ground everywhere, and you can tell how long someone has been eating betel by their teeth. Their teeth are really, really brown because of the juices. So, not that it can eat away the teeth, and it can eat away the gums, and also the limestone over time can give you severe kidney and liver problems. So it's like smoking. It's like they're smoking effectively. And so instead of cigarette butts, it's just natural stuff that, it stains the ground, but it's still not cigarette butts. So, is that better? I don't know. So I was going on a tour, on an Intrepid tour, and when I started the tour, we met everybody, and it was a huge tour. It was a big tour. It was about 15 people, and they were all so lovely. They were so nice. They were all like, it was a mixture. It was a big mixture of people, of ages. It wasn't a mixture of sexes though. It was like 14 girls and one guy. Bless him. He was so nice. He was very calm and did something, and it was so lovely. So I've made some really interesting, good friends, and yeah, hopefully I'll get to meet up with them again. But they were absolutely lovely, so I had a great time with them. There was a lot of things that were so different in Myanmar because it's been closed for so long. Their traditions and their culture has not been. It's starting to kind of mix with all different kinds of cultures, but their specific culture is still so prominent, and you can see it in the way that they dress. Everybody goes around in a Longyi, and I'm gonna show you how to wear this Longyi. Hello. So I'm going to show you how to put on a Longyi, which is a Myanmar traditional style dress, and you see everybody wearing these. You see the men, the women, children, everybody wears these. So it's basically a circle of fabric, and I bought this in Penang, actually, in Malaysia, and I didn't have a clue what it was. I just thought it was a sarong, and I was like, what do I do? It's a circle. But it's just such a beautiful pattern as well. I have one in teal and orange, which is this one, and then I have one in like a darker blue and pink flowers and purple, and it's just stunning. So I'll show you how to put this on. So because it's quite a conservative country, so you stick yourself into it. So you pop this kind of pattern in the front, or where you think the front is, and you take this corner and you just bring it over slightly. So you got this corner, like this. Then you tuck this bit in, tuck it in, grab the corner, wrap it in, twist. Ta-da! So I'm wearing it now. It is really nice to wear. It's like comfortable, and I couldn't find a place to get my legs waxed, so it was brilliant to not have them out. And it was just nice. I mean, obviously you wear it with like a t-shirt. You wouldn't wear it with this, because it's quite a conservative country. So you notice that first off, and then you notice that everybody has these kind of yellow brush strokes across their cheeks, and this is called Thanaka, and it's their form of traditional makeup, and it's literally like makeup. They use it like makeup, but also they use it like sun cream. So you'd see children plastered in this yellow stuff. So I'm going to try and insert videos by actually showing them to you, because the editing is just driving me crazy, guys. It's literally driving me crazy. I'm not good at it. So I wonder if you can see this. So this is Thanaka, and if you can see, if it's going to focus, they both have these little yellow marks on their cheeks, just here and here, and they're so pretty. But they're actually grinding the betel tree, the bark of the betel tree. And what's happening? So if you can see, I wonder why it's going so bad. So anyway, there are, oh, it's because that went dark. I'm such an idiot. So on the grindstone, they grind down the betel leaf, and then you take it off with her finger. She's taking it off her finger, and she's popping in that little pot. She's popping it in a little pot there. And at this particular region, they were actually grinding the betel leaf to make the Thanaka, to put on the Buddha's face and then wash his face. So it was a sacred. So it was just really fascinating to see. And they used it as sun cream, and everybody was wearing it. Even like the men sometimes were wearing it too, but mainly the women. And they wouldn't wear any other makeup, no other makeup, just the actual Thanaka. It's fascinating. So I arrived in Yangon, which is the capital city of Myanmar. No, actually, not anymore. They've moved the capital city right into the centre, but it was the old capital city. It was the English capital city. And, sorry, okay, I have to just show you something. I've been in Australia 5 weeks and I haven't bought Tim Tams. And I bought Tim Tams today. Look, the white chocolate ones. Oh my God, I keep looking at them and I'm like, I have to eat them right now. It's emergency snacks. Chelsea, Sue, emergency snacks. The king of emergency snacks. And I think did you start the whole thing where it was like you were eating them just like normal? But I have to do it now. But I had to get like a wide mouth cup of tea, so I need to. No, and now I'll get back to the travelling. Delicious. Excuse me. Oh God. It's holding up quite well. Oh no, hang on, it's starting to go. Oh. I have it in my mouth. Okay. No. No. I need to put it away because they'll distract me. Put them in a drawer. Put them away. Oh, they're so delicious. I word for delicious. Oh, sorry. Earthquake. That's you again, Chelsea and Sue. I love you guys. You're so funny. It's just black tea. Boring. Myanmar. So I looked up where to buy yarn in Myanmar, in Yangon, because I was going to be there for like a day before. I arrived at 12, dropped off my stuff, and then I wasn't meeting the group until 6. So I was looking it up and I couldn't really find anything. I could not find a thing. And then I found this website, or I found Facebook, that someone had posted, teaching people how to crochet in Myanmar. My Burmese students are so nice. And I texted her, and it turns out she was actually just visiting from Kuala Lumpur. But she gave me the address and the details of the shop that she was teaching in, which was this little crochet shop. So I went and visited, and I found it. And it's by the Shwedagon Pagoda, which is like this massive, massive pagoda, solid gold. I didn't actually go to see it because I was busy going to a yarn shop before it closed. You guys understand. So, what's all this? This is for a Declan's hat. It started a Declan's hat, and then I pulled it out because I was like, it's there for too long. I just needed to start again. You know, sometimes you just need to start again. So I bought two balls of yarn. Now the colour is terrible. I'm so sorry about the lighting. It's really grey and not very nice today. That lighting is terrible. Hang on. Light. What does that look like? Oh, a little bit better. They're brighter in real life. The screen is not so grey. It's very grey. I think it's a lot. It's just like really like a mossy green, and then this is just a really dark purple. So this shop was so cute, and I had a little interview with her while she was there because she spoke really good English, which was really difficult to find, but she's so cute. This is her here. She's so cute. Look at the little face, look at the little crochet, little dress. She actually was wearing a dress like this. So cute. Oh my gosh. She was so kind. I walked into the shop and I think it was her husband that was in there. So this is her card. So she's May Thantnui and Handmade Academy Supplies. And she's all on Facebook. This is the Myanmar alphabet. So cool. So I arrived in and she wasn't there, but she was on her way apparently, she said. The husband said, and I was looking around. He was like, "Are you hungry?" And I was like, "What?" He's like, "Oh, we're just having dinner. Do you want some?" I was like, is it rude to say no? So I sat down and I had like my first Myanmar meal, which was like a home cooked meal. He sat me down. It was like this beef kind of curry thing, and I was like, "Do I say I'm trying to be vegetarian. I was like, don't be a douche, you know, just eat it. It's so nice of them to give it to you. And it's like a Western person in my shop, and you don't want to be like, I don't eat meat. So I had it, and it was delicious. What I've noticed about Myanmar food is it's quite oily. They really believe in oil. They grow a lot of peanuts, so it's very, very oily foods. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. So she arrived anyway in, and I was having a little talk with her, and just so cute. And she just started the business. It was only 3 months old, and so if anyone is visiting Myanmar, go find this girl's shop. It's so cute. It's about, from the center of the city, it costs about $2 or $3 in a taxi, so it's not far. So lovely. So I bought 2 of these, and these are going to be 2 hats at some point, 2 beanies, and I bought the needles and everything, and so I'm ready to go with those. But so I've been carrying these around with me. But she's so cute. Look at her little cuteness is the thing. That's what I found out about knitting, and kind of especially when in relation to the younger generation. May was telling me that with the rise of amigurumis, that's not the way you say it, is it? I'm going to go with it because I can't say it any better. That knitting, like crochet specifically, has become like super popular again. I'm all for that. So I was like, oh, do you know any other places that, you know, might sell, like, I was looking specifically for a cable needle to do the cabling on the hat, and she was like, maybe like in the market. And by the way she said the market, I was like, oh, what's that about? She's like, it's really crowded. I was like, oh, right. She's like, lots of people, watch out. I was like, oh, I'm scared now. So turns out after the tour came back around to Yangon, I went to the market, and it was fine. It was fine, but I'll show you that later. We did a little tour in the evening, and we had a lovely, lovely meal, and it was Valentine's Day. And what I noticed around Valentine's Day in Myanmar is they have a new habit. It's very, 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 very popular, but on Valentine's Day it's the thing to get either like a picture of you and your boyfriend on a t-shirt, and then walk around with the same t-shirt on all day, like hand in each other's pockets. Like, it was like, whoa, that's intense. It was so funny. And we went to this restaurant which is all decked out and like hearts and stuff, and we all got like a free little notebook that says "Be My Valentine." It was so pink and so atrocious, and it was like, wow, they're really into Valentine's Day. That was really funny. The food was amazing. It was really, really good. I had like a noodly vegetarian dish, because I was like, right, I've got to get back to the vegetarianism. Got to get back to that. So difficult. So where was I? I have it all down here. The next day we woke up and we got on a train to Bagan. Now the train. All night for 15 hours. It was that bumpy. And it was so funny. It was so cute. The actual compartment was literally like a compartment. You were locked in. Some other lad tried to get in actually as the train was taking off, and we were like, get out, get out. So we had our own toilet, which was a hole just basically down onto the tracks, and then a bunk each. And it was really old fashioned, and I don't think that the rails had been fixed in a long time. And I was knitting on my blueberry waffle socks at the time. I've shown you these last week, but these are my blueberry waffle socks. And I don't think the dirt will ever come out. Oh, sorry, that's me just walking on them because I've used them. So the dust was incredible. Like coming in through the window, it was so dusty, because it was the end of the dry season. So I think from here up is the dust. Solid dust. and it's part of it. It's part of them now. So there was two windows. So there was an inside glass one and then an outside shutter. And every time the train stopped, people would like rush up to the windows and try and sell us stuff. And when it got dark, like it was getting scary. Like people were like going like, ah! And I was like, and we were told keep your bags away from the windows because they'll like reach in and grab your bags and stuff, and it was just terrifying. So in the end, one of the girls was like, close all the windows, and then we closed all the windows, and then we were coming into a station and one of them goes, just turn off the lights. I was like, genius. So we turned off all the lights and we were like pretended we were asleep or that it was empty, you know, and nobody bothered us. I was like, genius. So that was super cool. Although one of the girls was like, they're selling beer. I was like, don't do it. You don't need beer, you'll just have to pee in that toilet and you're on the upper bunk. And she's like, oh yeah. Oh no, Charlotte, you were on the lower bunk because of that. Sorry, Charlotte. So that was really funny. So we got into Bagan the following morning. Bumped around, super dusty and dying for a shower and maybe a nap. So we were picked up by a bus and we were driven down the new highway to Bagan. Now the new highway, which was built in 2000, I think, and it was not very new. Everything seems to have been built recently, but not very well. You know, like the concrete doesn't stay very well, and maybe I'm just used to stuff being maintained very, very well. I don't know. But we got in anyway, and you could see all the temples in the distance. You could see that basically Bagan is an ancient civilization. It was a gigantic city that was, I think it was built in the 11th century when Buddhism first came into Myanmar. And I'm trying to keep this short, but this is impossible. It's impossible to keep it short, so I might split this into two. I might just release them like both during the week sometime because there's a lot to talk about. So in the 11th century, apparently just everyone turned to Buddhism, or Buddhism was put on people, and everybody from the kings to the lowliest servant wanted to build a stupa, or a temple. And they're all called pagodas. And the stupa is one that you can't go inside, so it's just a solid kind of bell-shaped building. And then the temples are the ones that you can go inside, but they're all called pagodas. And the thing I wanted to do more than anything else in the world was go up in the balloons. And I show you the balloons. So we got up in the morning, super early, and we went ballooning. Now, we were picked up at about 5 o'clock in the morning, brought down, and we had breakfast. It was all laid out for us by the lovely Myanmar people. And then this English guy came up and was like, all right, lads, who's from Bristol. He goes around the world just ballooning. How amazing is that? So they filled up all the balloons, and it was just an incredible sight to see, and all that sound, the sound of it like filling up was incredible. And then we all hopped in. Turns out I was in a balloon with like a famous guy. I have no idea. He was German famous. I think he's like a TV personality. I'm not going to say his name because, you know, for privacy or something. But I was like, he was so sweet. I was like, oh, all right, hello. And the guy was, the guy in the balloon was like, nobody's pregnant, are they? And nobody intends to be by the end of this flight. And we were like, no, what? No. And it was funny because the rest of them were couples apart from me and this famous German guy. And I was like, are you going to get me pregnant? He was like, what? No, you're safe. You're safe. And I was like, oh, good, awesome. Which is hilarious now that I realise he was famous. Maybe I shouldn't know. So this is one of the images, one of the pictures of the balloon ride. Oh, and the sun was rising over the mists and the temples, and it was just stunning. And there was thousands of these in the sky, just thousands and thousands and thousands. just all filling up the sky, and all the temples across the bottom were just stunning. So pretty. I'm just showing you my Instagram feed. You can look at these yourself, but it's nice to see these. And these balloons were massive. And we were all coming in together, and we shouldn't have been really. Apparently it was really dangerous. We did crash into trees when we landed. But we were all coming in a line, and I just got some really amazing photos. It was incredible. And people were actually watching us from one of the temples. You could climb up the temples. You can't do that anymore. They stopped that on the 1st of March. So we literally got in under that barrier. So we climbed up the temples, and you could see all, like, that was the moon. That's the moon up in the background, because we went up for sunset as well after we cycled all around the temples. And it was absolutely beautiful, just cycling around. We went on the tour with the guide, and the guide knew exactly where to take us, and it was so lovely. I bought so many things. So Myanmar was the place that I spent most of my tourist money. So as well as buying the Longyis, I also bought these sand paintings when I was travelling around Bagan. And they're so beautiful. So they're basically, it's carbundrum, essentially, which is a printmaking term, because I did printmaking when I was small, on my first degree. And this is the 7-headed elephant. I think you can only see 5 there, 5 or 7, 5, like uneven numbers are sacred. And it's basically a very, very auspicious sign. Whatever that means, I don't know. The peacock is the international bird, or the national bird of Myanmar. And this is beautiful image, beautiful print of it's basically twinned peacocks, and it's for the lovers. And I was like, oh sweet. It's a sign for good relationships and happiness in your relationship. Like a loving relationship. So I had to buy those. And they're made by a family, apparently. I don't know. You know the way they try and sell you stuff. Oh, my brother made this. He's blind. And you're like, yes, okay. So that was beautiful. But very, very scary, because most of the stuff that we were cycling on was sand. It's a bit scary. After we spent about 2 days in Bagan, cycling around and the balloon ride. The next morning after we left Bagan, we were taking a cruise. We were taking a boat up the river. Oh! And we had a beautiful, it was a full day cruising, full day. So we got up really early, but then people just slept in the morning, and we got food, and we got fed like noodles and rice and everything. And it was very basic, but it was perfect, just what you need. And we saw this beautiful sunrise over the bridge. Beautiful sunrise over the bridge as we were passing through. And the water was just, it wasn't necessarily clean, because like I said, they throw everything away. So basically everything goes in the water as well. And, but all the beaches all the way along were just stunning, stunning, stunning beaches. And if you could, like, it wasn't it was the Irrawaddy River. Did I say that? The Irrawaddy River. And I finished my blueberry socks on the Irrawaddy River, and if you can see that beach in the background, like the whole way for a whole day, like miles and miles and miles of this beautiful beach, and you can see all the villagers in the background, like small little villages, little fishermen boats, things like that. I was so happy about those photos. That was awesome. Really, really beautiful. So these are I started them in Thailand, and they took a whole month to finish. And I don't know if it was the yarn or what, but they are super soft now. But it's kind of a cottony, blendy type of thing, I think. I can't remember what the yarn is. Actually, I think I did find... It's called Baby Gem, now that I think about it. Baby Gem. Aha! No, that's Baby Sheep. That's the other one. Where is it? Yes! Gem Feather Light. Now, this might be this one or this one. But it's the only one I have left. It's the only ball band that survived the trip. So this is what and it's colour 706. average needle size, 3.5 to 4 millimeter. Well, I use a 2.5, so no. I use 2.5 Addies to do those, and yes, there's a few mistakes, and yes, that's fine. That's all fine. So, of course, I had to start a next pair of socks pretty much immediately on the boat. And these were, I'll just show you the tips. Oh, hello. So this is my neon zebra socks. And if you can see, that is actually very accurate. And I started doing the Hermione's Everyday pattern, which at the start I was like, this is never going to work. I can't see anything. I can't see any pattern. The variegated yarn is going to ruin it. Boy, was I wrong, because look how pretty. Lovely heel flap and gusset. That's the first one that I actually did right. I decreased the correct way, so it didn't go vujum. It went nice line. And then, I've shown these already, I'm sure, but show them again because they're so pretty. And then I actually carried on with the Hermione's pattern all the way down the toe. Some people stop there, but I quite like this, the way it continues down, and then I just did it plain on the back. What's that? That was a bit of a loose stitching there. Meh, that's fine. So I started knitting these in Myanmar. And I carried on knitting these through Cambodia, and I finished them in Australia. So these are the last actual knitting projects that I did while I was travelling, sorry. So we got to Mandalay in the evening, and we were greeted by this gigantic, ridiculous gold boat. I don't know if I got a picture of it. I did, but I don't have it here, but it was ridiculous. There was like 2 massive gold elephants on the back of it, and I was like, oh, I'm totally getting married in that. So, when we got to Mandalay, the next day anyway, we had a Mandalay city tour, which was the busiest day I have ever had. Oh my god, it was so busy. We saw everything. We saw the bubbly Buddha, which is a Buddha that used to be the same. It used to be the shape of like a normal Buddha, but people keep putting on loads and loads and loads of gold. When I say people, I mean men, because men are the only ones allowed in, which is not happy. But this is the bubbly Buddha. Now, that used to be, like, see his face, it used to be that shiny, but all the way around him is where the men are sticking on all of the gold. Like, he's about 7 or 8 inches thick extra. All the gold on him, oh my god. So much gold. They love gold. We saw more sunsets on Mandalay Hill, which was beautiful. This is one of the gold stupas that we saw, which actually had the Buddha's teachings all written out in white rocks surrounding it, so it was called the Book Temple. And oh, we saw the gold workshop. I've got to show you this, guys. I hope this is working because it's easier than... So they're flattening out the gold. And just to hear that, like, methodic... This is mesmerising to watch. So fascinating. So this is where they beat out the gold from a nugget to the flat strips that they sell to people to put on the Buddha. And that was amazing. We saw so much in Mandalay, and then we went down the road to have some dinner, and we had, I think, a sum total of about 80 spring rolls on a table of 10 people. It was like, there was a lot. It did take 2 hours to come out. We bought so much just waiting for these spring rolls and the food, that I think the whole table for 10 of us, for 80 spring rolls, like 2 or 3 beers each, a bottle of gin, 10 main courses and these spring rolls, the whole price came to about £25. Nothing. So that was good. And then we went to Kalal, Kalal is a hill station where they it's a lot higher and a little bit cooler, and there was a beautiful market in there as well. It was actually a local market where everyone just went to get their stuff, but we went hiking for the whole day, and it was gorgeous. We had these 2 guides who were telling us a lot about the history, like the actual history of Myanmar, and it was fascinating. It was really, really interesting. And my best bit was lunch. Not for the food, although the food was really good, but because we we went to lunch at this cottage where they were hand weaving with a back brace. They were hand weaving all their traditional clothing, and this was the Pa'o tribe, perhaps. I can't remember exactly the tribe, but literally I got so into it. I was like, oh my god, what's that? And I just got all dressed up in their wedding outfit. They were like, oh, try this on. They were like really, really glad that I was interested, and I just put on everything, and this was so incredible. Look at all the colours. I was so hot. I was sweating. But I had like this hand beaded, hand sequined top on, and I had a Longyi on that they'd made themselves, and this headdress was just incredible. This is the wedding one, and I was like, they're gonna pop a man out here and he's gonna like just propose and suddenly I'll be trapped. But no. And they made this swift. Look at this swift. It's a couple of sticks and a bit of baler twine. And she was just winding away, happy out like. She was incredible. And this, I just had to take a video of it. All you need is a few bits of sticks, like no fancy weaving boards. Something like that. Fancy weaving looms. Just look at it. I just can't stop looking at it. Fascinating. It's amazing. So that was just the best day. So we got back in anyway, and we chilled out, and we had dinner, and it was so nice. And then the next day we went to Inle Lake. Now Inle Lake is fascinating. It's like a constantly flowing freshwater lake, and it's formed by it's a weird geological feature that basically it's very flat. It's 44 square miles big. It's huge. But it's only 5 foot deep. It's 12 foot deep at its biggest, so that's only 12 foot, where 5 foot is only like 1.5 meters, 2-3 meters at the deepest. So it's constantly moving, and it's very, very shallow. So a lot of life lives there, a lot of seaweed, a lot of pondweed. And what they do is, loads and loads of people live there, and they actually gather all the pondweed and they build them into little islands, little floating islands, and they grow food on them, and they actually like export so much food from these little floating islands, and it's so fertile as well, because seaweed is an incredibly useful fertilizer because of the nitrogen. And they have this typical way that they fish, because it's so difficult to see. It's so difficult to see down because of all the pondweed and stuff. They actually fish standing up, and they row with their legs. So they wrap the oar around their leg, and they row with their leg, and then they fish from standing up because they can see straight down into the water. Fascinating. But there were so many amazing industries on the lake. There was weaving, more weaving. I'll show you this. This was a little bit more fancy. So they're weaving silk. And they had a whole factory dedicated to that. And then, they were also doing kind of patterned weaving. Where she was like measuring every line that she sent across. Could you imagine? I mean, you can't imagine, I'm sure, but I couldn't. And then they also weaved with lotus fibre, right? Which is the lotus plant, which grows in the lake. And they take the stems of the leaves, and when they break it, it releases this long fibre, and then they pop it on the ground, pop it on the table, and then they roll it into a fibre. See, they're joining it there. They roll it all together. Fascinating. So I didn't buy anything because it was very expensive. We also went to a cat temple. It's called the Jumping Cat Temple. And the cats used to jump when they were being fed, or when the music was on, but they don't jump anymore because they're too fat apparently. But there were cats everywhere, and I love the cats. And everyone was playing with the cats, and the monk was like, "Hello, I'm here too." But these cats were so cute. Oh, that was so much fun. And then we went to, there was silversmithing as well, and they showed us how they made the silver. It was really, really interesting. And I bought a ring. from Myanmar, from Inle Lake, which is nice. So we also saw the long neck women, and I'm not going to show a photo of that because some people might get a bit offended or a bit nervous, a bit uncomfortable about it, but it's when they put the rings around the necks and they lengthen out the neck, which results in putting a lot of pressure on the rib cage, and they eventually can't take it off because their neck has been weakened so much. And I was a bit uncomfortable about seeing that, but the young people aren't doing it anymore. The young women aren't doing it anymore because they want to just be normal. But some tourism is kind of the only reason that they can survive. It's the ones that have it already. So, because they can't really do proper work. You know, they can't really work in the fields or anything because they have this thing on them and they can't bend over and stuff. So, that was a bit upsetting. You can always look it up online if you want to see it, but I'm not going to put it up. And we went to the hot springs. Oh my gosh, we cycled to the hot springs. And cycling was so scary. It's really, really scary. Because they have these trucks, which are actually they're like a trailer. So you have a trailer on the back of a truck, an open top trailer. Just a box on wheels. And then they just stick an engine on the front. And they sound like articulated lorries coming up behind you, and you're like, oh my god! And then you turn around and it's this tiny little thing that's barely bigger than your van, and you're like, why are you so loud? Why are you so loud? So we stopped off at the top of a hill, and this guy came in, and he's like, hello, where are you from? Hello. And I was like, oh, hello, that's so nice. And we stopped there on the way back because he was so lovely to us. He was like, oh, where are you from? Oh, I'd love to go to Ireland. Oh, I'd love to go there. I'd love to go. There's just, everyone was so lovely and they're so sweet. And we got to this hot springs, and there was a sign for women and then foreigners. So no men were allowed in the hot springs, it seems like. Except for foreigners, which is a separate sex. So women went and foreigners. So we went in the foreigner section because we were probably too scandalous to be allowed in with the normal population. And it was so gorgeous. It was so nice. Quite expensive, but not half as expensive as it would be going to a hot springs anywhere else in the Western world. And it was just really relaxing. So nice. So yeah, and then we went up to a winery in Inle Lake, and went up there and had the wine tasting, and it was just really lovely to see the sunset from up there. And then we had a lovely meal, a last meal with Ong, our tour guide, and I promptly got very, 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 very sick. And I think it was from a rum that I had after the meal in this fancy new restaurant in Inle Lake, which was set up by an English guy actually. I'm going to say it was the rum because I really don't want it to be the meal that did for us. Anyway. So the next morning anyway, we were flying back to Yangon, and I was so ill. I had thrown up 4 or 5 times, and I threw up again twice on the plane, and the stewardesses on the plane were so, so, so lovely. And I was sitting next to another girl who was also a flight attendant, and she was so sweet as well. Thank you so much, Charlotte, for being so nice and lovely. And it was really funny, actually. Charlotte was so funny. She was telling us stories of her experience as a flight attendant, and the funniest one was her anecdote of whenever there's a female pilot. She's standing there, she's sitting there basically looking at everybody, watching them all as they're taking off, and the pilot's like, hello, my name is blah, 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 and I'll be your flight today. We're going to be flying at this blah, blah, and it's going to take us this many hours, and it's going to be this time when we get there, blah, blah, blah. And you'd see them all just nudging one another, going, it's a woman, it's a woman, it's a woman. And they just keep doing it. Every time she talked, she'd be like, it's a woman flying the plane, a woman pilot. So now because I know that they're all watching us, so anytime that there's a man flying the plane, I'm like nudging the next one. I was like, oh, it's a man flying the plane. Gosh, it's a man. Can't believe it. Can't believe the little man fly the plane. Sexism. Don't like it. Stop it, okay? Women can fly planes. Men can fly planes. It's okay. So we separated anyway at the airport, and I got a taxi with lovely Lily, who's very interested in zero waste actually as well, which is awesome, which is so nice. She's from Bristol as well. There was loads of them from Bristol. Bristolians, yay! And I booked myself in for a hotel for the night, for 2 nights. No, just one night. And I was so unwell, but also it was the first time I'd had proper internet. OMG. It was amazing. I got to catch up with everybody. It was like, yay! It was like back into the real world again. You know, it's been separated from you for so long. So sad. So, and then the next day, before I caught a taxi to get the plane to Cambodia, I went out to that wool shop that I saw in the market, the really busy market. And no, they didn't really have anything very, that I liked. You know, they didn't have anything like sock weight. But I did see this, which is Venus, 100% acrylic, I believe. You're not going to get anything else. Not going to get anything else really there. Apart from cotton, I'm not a big cotton. Although, no, I did get cotton. This is cotton. Believe me or believe me not. And I made, a couple of days ago, I made a couple of cotton rounds out of this. This is Myanmar cotton. And it's not very good quality. You can still see bits of black and blue and plastic and stuff that they kept in. But I have it. Myanmar cotton. And then this is 100% Thailand wool. 100% acrylic Thailand wool. But I bought it in Yangon. And I'll make something out of it. I don't know what. I don't even know. Oh, hang on. 420 yards. So yeah, could be socks. I've just read the Marie Kondo book, The Magic of Tidying Up, or The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. And she says that go through everything you have, and if it doesn't spark joy, get rid of it. Just leave it. Just get rid of it. And I don't have much, which has made it easy. This does not spark joy, but it does spark memories. So I might make something out of it. There's a lot there. And, you know, it might come up quite nice. It's kind of like it's a blacky, yeah, it's a black, isn't it? A black, and I do like these colours. I don't know. Not sure about that. But, yeah, it was just gorgeous country, beautiful places to see. I would advise everybody to do the Intrepid tour actually, because they supplied drinking water that I could refill my bottle with, no plastic, yay. And they also gave me this amazing bag, which is, I assume says, I have no idea what it says, could say anything, but this is Say No to Plastic Intrepid tour. And one of the girls gave me theirs because she's like, I don't need it. And then 2 minutes later she was like, oh, I've nothing to put my lunch in. I was like, have this back. She's like, oh, I just gonna get a plastic bag. I was like, take this. Please take this. Everybody, they're always valuable, these tote bags. Always. And they just fold up so small. They fold up into nothing. I just always have one in my bag. And, you know, you can just... Actually, I've been using this as my handbag for a while. Do you know... Grand, perfect, amazing. It was just really inspirational seeing it, and he was really, he was brilliant about the whole, please try not to buy plastic bottles, you know, bring your own, I'll supply drinking water for you that you can refill. And that's the whole culture of Myanmar, is minding everybody. Everybody likes to, like at the start of, at the entrances of villages or anywhere around town, you'll see these plastic, big containers, like refillable containers of water. And yes, they're plastic. Okay, plastic is useful for some things, but not for just buying water like out of block bottles when it's pretty much free out of the tap. Like, you don't know how wonderful it was to come to Australia and I could drink water out of the tap. I was like, oh my god, like it's amazing. So anyway, I'm against plastic bottles. unless they're extremely reusable. And even then, like, you know, the plastic bottles, you say, oh, I'll reuse this. You won't. And also it'll leach the lights into your system, and please don't do it. That's just my thing. But I really, 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 really recommend the tour that I did, which was the basics in Myanmar, Best of Myanmar. Best of Burma, I think it's called. And it was incredible. Incredible. And just people would come up to me and like take my photo, and I'd be like stumbling back, and they'd be like, oh no, I want to take your photo, can you take a photo of me? And in Myanmar, Burmese or whatever. So I was like, oh, okay. And I'd be like, hello, this like big tall white person, and they're like this size. I don't know what they do with the photos. Do they have like a shrine? What do they do with the photos? Do they sell them online? Is it like a weird... I don't know. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I'm never going to see them again. I want to see them again, but I might not get a chance to go back there. I'm one of these people, when I go traveling, I try not to go back to the same place unless I really, you know, unless there's a good reason, like to England or to Ireland where I have people I want to visit. But if I'm traveling, I try to, because there's so many other places in the world, you know. So maybe when I retire, I'll go back to all the places I've been. If I ever retire, if I can't retire, I'll never be able to. So I just want to say a thank you to Ichigo Knitter. So she's the Ichigo Abroad podcast, and she's Saratoga Knitter on Instagram, and she's so lovely. And she mentioned me on Instagram that she was watching me, and I was like, thank you so much. So a couple of the podcasts that I started watching in Myanmar was Sticks Plus Twine, Eric from Sticks Plus Twine, and he's so lovely. He's just got back from a cruise. It looks amazing. I think I went on a cruise like that, not all the way from New York. We set off from Puerto Rico, but it was incredible, really, really good. I'm totally up for a knitting cruise. Do it, Eric, but give me 2 years. Maybe we could make it an annual thing. And I could join one day when I have enough money. Yeah, oh my god, I would totally love it. That would be so incredible. We could go pick up yarn on the way, even if it was crappy yarn. Nah, doesn't matter. Still a nice thing. So next time I'm going to talk about when I'm in Cambodia, and some of my travel experiences. Oh, I have one more thing to say. Okay, this is the final thing to say. It's going to be over an hour again, damn it. Anyway, so when I was leaving, it was the first time ever that I had trouble getting through security with my knitting needles. And they were like, what is this? And the guy was I think he was just really interested. He was like, what is this? I'm like, oh, it's knitting. He's like, show me. And so I got my knitting, and I was like, look, you like this? And it's like, oh, I do. And he grabbed it off, and he was like, and he like talked to like 15 other people that were around. And 2 of them were like, no, she can't have it. And the other was like, oh, it's okay. And he's like, no, it doesn't, it's not sharp. You know, he was totally on my side. I was like, awesome, dude. And I was like, please. Because I didn't have any other needles. And because I couldn't find any wooden needles. I couldn't find any like normal wooden needles. And anyway, he turns around, and I was like, he was like, it's okay. I was like, thank you, I'll knit you something. He's like, yeah, I'm size medium. Next time you come back. I was like, dude, so mate, I can't go back until I've learned how to knit a sweater. Gotta give it to that dude. It was so funny. But oh my god, my heart was racing by the end. I was like, because that's the first time I've been told anything going through security. And I was super nervous about it. But I was fine. I was totally fine. So thank you so much for watching. And I've managed to get all of Myanmar in this episode. So I'm under 49 minutes, and then I have an extra little clip where I show you how to use the Longyi. So thank you. And who else have I been watching? Knit24, the Legacy Knits podcast. Mina, of course. Katie, number 23 podcast. Adresudits match naturally, and all the good people, so good, and there's so many people I haven't seen yet. I just love it. I love it. So I'm going to set up a Ravelry group soon, and we can have a chat about all the places I've been. I might set up like a page for every country I've been in, and that might be good. Okay. Bye. How do I turn it off? There.